G'day, it's Kenny from Delivered Concepts. Tonight I'm out in the workshop just doing a little small project where I've actually got to do a set of handlebar changes. What I needed to do, and I don't have the equipment to do it, is I need to neck this section here down to around about 21mm OD, so that way then it can actually telescope up inside the existing handlebars with a 21mm ID. I don't have the tooling to do that, so what I've actually done is I've made a mandrel and I've also made an outer form. So one of the important parts when you're going to be trying to put this much force through steel, give it a bit of a quick spray. I've used a little bit of CRC adhesive lubricant. Both the mandrel and the die have been sprayed already, so I'll put it all together and show you how it works. So it's designed to slip fit up internally. Make sure we get it the right way. I have lightly radiused this top edge to allow for the metal to transition through. Using a socket to actually cancel out the inaccuracy of this press. This press is just a cheapy one that I got off Facebook Marketplace. It does have a lot of slop in it. So what I'll do is I'll try and get position. Now I do apologise, I'm trying hard not to block the camera, but as you can appreciate, it's not easy when you're working on your own. Let's lift this jack up a tiny bit more. Righto, there we go, starting to get there. So what I can actually do is get a feeling of where it wants to bottom out and sit square. Because all the faces on each different section have all been machined square in the lathe, it gives me a bit of an indication of where it naturally wants to sit, which is helping a lot with alignment. Now I'm just sneaking up on it little bit by little bit, just making sure that it's not trying to pivot or rock. And if you see down here I've got a tape line, I need to continue to push that down in stage one until I get to around about half the total distance, and then I'll insert the socket and have another go for stage two. I think we're good to go. I'm just going to do a couple of checks for alignment. So the bar's not quite square, just give it a very, very light shift into the right position. That's better. Visually it's looking fine that way. Okay, so now we'll just start sneaking up on it. And if we've got everything in alignment, without too much hassle, it should start to push the tube down into the mandrel. And I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it's just starting to go down. So we'll just slowly continue that along. Now there's only around about 25mm inside this mandrel that I can actually use before I've got to switch over to the socket. So I'm really, really cautious to make sure that when I see it stop traveling, I don't increase the hydraulic pressure. But at the moment it's still moving. Still moving. A few more strokes. Okay, you can start to feel it getting a little bit on the tighter side. Okay, that'll do it. So what I'll do now is I'll reset it up. Try not to drop all of this while I'm on camera. Okay, take this piece out, put it to one side, take the mandrel out. And as you can see already, it's already started to come down here and it's closed up this. What I want to do now with the socket is push the top outer mandrel, or die rather, further up the tube. We'll take out our spacer plate, we'll put in our socket, load it all back up. Try and sneak our bit of plate back in. Just need to come up a little bit more with the vise. Righto, just nip that valve off. Okay, so same thing again, put it all in, let it settle where it wants to settle. It'll tell you where it's square and where it's happy. Okay, at the moment it feels a little bit out of square, so just rock it until I get to the right spot. Okay, sneak up on it by finger tight again. Okay. Okay, so I've just pinched it, just doing a visual check against the frame. Tiny little bit in on the inside, tiny little bit more, probably too much. Okay, we're good to go, we're square again. And now we'll go to take this down to halfway through. And you can tell if you've got everything lined up, because as soon as you start putting pressure on it, it's going to want to start sliding on its own, and you can actually see it starting to feed material down through the outer die while still maintaining the mandrel on the inside. I need to get this down to around about there, which is about 10mm. I'll just crack this off again. Try not to drop everything in the process. Okay. We're always looking for around about 1 to 2 mil above the die. I don't know if you can see that from the camera angle, but this is machined to 26mm, and I took it just a fraction bit past. Now I'll take this over the workbench, and with a couple of blows of the dead blow, I'll separate all of this apart, and then I'll show you the finished product. Okay, I'm back over the workbench now, and I thought I'd try and show you and reach around the camera. You can tell my YouTube skills have still got a little bit to develop, but just to give you an idea, we're shooting for 21, and we got anywhere between 2104 and 2190 across both pieces. Both pieces turned out nearly identical, and as you can see, we're pretty much spot on the money with each one. Tiny little bit of undersize there, but we're actually shooting for an absolute final of 20.75, so I thought I'd leave them a little bit large, so that way then I could give them a light sand. Plus, on the inside of the handlebar tube, which we've got here, it's also got a little bit of coating, so there's a very, very high chance that with that coating, we might end up actually having to do some internal work. But just to give you the idea, proof of concept, it's designed so that that becomes a very snug fit when I go to tap them in. What will happen with these handlebars is they'll get shortened to the customer specifications. I'll reattach the handlebars and then plug weld on the inside. And to give you an idea, this one here has already been somewhat pre-machined, and it's quite easy to push it in a good 10 to 15 mil. Thanks for joining me. The next video I post will be in regards to how I set up the handlebars at the fixture table and how we get ready to start welding them out.